Hey everybody, welcome to Bestie Book Reviews. I'm here with my bestie Mandy.
And I'm here with my very bestie, Jessica.
She's trying to butter me up because this is a convincing video.
It is. And I just want to point out that the people in the comments for the last one made comments about how nice I was to you because I brought you a good one.
You did, and that was great. But I gave you a good one, the one before that. So the people have been asking and they're getting another Omegaverse. Oops.
Okay.
Okay. So I have 6 Omegaverse Recs for you.
Are
These ones
there aliens in this Omegaverse or love triangles?
No, I don't think so. No, I think we're good. These are just straight up Omegaverse. For the most part, though, they are either MFM or Y choose. I'm sorry, it's just the way Omegaverse works because people like to be in packs. It is what it is. Okay, so let's start out with my most recent read for Omegaverse, and that is When She Needs Them Most. I want to put a "the" in there, and it doesn't work. Oh, okay. So this is by Jillian West. This is about Chelsea and the guys. There's 3 guys in this one. So Chelsea is an Omega, and she finds out that she's pregnant, and she's been in a relationship with this guy. I think his name was Chad, for a while, or just for a short while, and he's kind of ghosting her when she tries to tell him that she's pregnant. Well, come to find out, he had brain cancer, and he found out while like at the end of their dating, and he broke up with her and died, basically. And so she's been leaving him messages to tell him that she's pregnant, and she's all upset because he's not answering. Well, it's because he's gone. His lawyer shows up to tell her. Well, in the meantime, she develops a stalker, and so she has to leave town. It's related. Trust me, it's related, but she has to leave town. And so she moves away, trying to get away from that situation. She's 9 months pregnant. She shows up in this little town. The house that she's renting, she has to go next door to get the keys. A little old lady had it, and she left the keys with the 3 alphas who live next door. And so she goes to get the keys from them, and that is where she meets our guys. They run a security agency, but that's just kind of a cover-up for what they really do. And they are immediately enamored with her. I mean, it's kind of part of their dynamic, right? They're alpha, she's an Omega, they want to take care of her, she's in distress, she's pregnant. But there's like no heat at her house. She didn't realize that the town is very small, so she can't just order Uber Eats and get food, like those kinds of things. So they start taking care of her. She's literally about to pop. And they know that she's their scent match, and they're just really into this. Plus, they got to eliminate the situation that's happening with the stalker. They're very obsessed. They're very possessive, but they don't want her to know that they are. So they kind of go behind her back to do these crazy things, and they call each other out on the crazy that they're doing. But I loved it. I loved their crazy. It was great. It was fun to read how, they're obsessed and nuts, but they do it in a fun way. So, and they don't mind calling each other out on their crazy obsessive behaviors. So, okay. So the next book that I have is one by LV Lane. I think I honestly have 2 LV Lanes, but she does such a great job with her Omegaverse, and they're just different. So they're kind of fantasy Omegaverse. But this is The Wolf in My Tavern. And this is about Ada, Callum, and Gray. So this is an MFM. And this takes place where Ada is abducted, or no, her father sells her to the guys that they're at war with, because there's this war going on. And he sells her to them for money to pay off his debts. And they put her down in these cages that they've got these girls that they're going to sell to that they're taken off to war to, I guess, service their guys or whatever's going to happen. It's the Blighton. I think they're supposed to be like orcs, but they call them the Blighton. Anyhow, she meets this other girl in a cage when she's in this cage, and she's very upset. The other girl is like, don't worry, my dad is going to come and save us. And lo and behold, her dad and the blacksmith and the blacksmith's son and a bunch of other people rescue them. And that is where she first meets the blacksmith's son, and that is Callum. And he is a cinnamon roll. He is so cute, and he is so much fun. And they immediately have an attraction. She actually gets taken in by the girl's dad that she met there, and he runs the tavern. And so she starts working at the tavern, and that's how she gets to meet Callum, and they just have the cutest little relationship. And then one day, this big, tall hunk of a dude comes in, and that is Gray. Gray is a shifter because we are in a fantasy world. And Gray starts taking her attention away from Callum, but yet she still likes Callum. And there might be some other things happening here. She might even get kidnapped. But it is an MFM. So no love triangle, I promise. Okay, so the next one that I have for you is Pack Dutton, Dutton, by Megan Kane, and the Megan does not have an H in it, just so you know. Okay, so this is about Hazel. Again, this is White Shoes, but Hazel was sold into this cult when she was a little girl as an Omega, and this cult, the cult leader gets to marry all the Omegas, and it's like a thing. The betas and stuff don't get to touch her at all. And he's old and he's nasty. Like her uncle sold her into this group when he died, knowing how cruel they are to her. And so she is, hold on. She thought she was a beta for a while, and then she transitioned very late in life into an Omega. Now the dirty old prophet wants to make her his wife. But there's this group of guys, they've been brought in to take down the cult. And that is where she meets one of them who becomes her protector. And then eventually they escape the cult and he takes her into his home. And there's a whole bunch of other things that happen. But there's this very angsty, very, it's a duet. I've only read the first book, but it was very, very good. So I'm just putting that out there. You might want to read the second half. I need to. I just haven't. But the first book was good enough. Okay. Now, I have another one for you that I listened to the audio of this one. It was really fun. So far, none of these have audio except for this one. This is the first with audio. This is Don't Puck With My Heart by Sarah Blue. I think we're going to see Sarah Blue in Seattle at Love in Seattle. But this is about Piper, Alexi, and Owen. So this is an MMF. This is hockey, and it is the second in a series, but they are complete standalones. So this is Piper is a surgical resident, and she is a female alpha. So she's not an Omega this time. She's a female alpha. And then we have Owen, Owen and Alexi are both on the hockey team, but Owen is hiding the fact that he is a male Omega. And that is something that he has to keep hidden, his designation, for reasons, especially being on a hockey team, because he wouldn't be allowed to do the things that he gets to do. So he disguises himself. And Alexi is the captain, and he has had a crush on Piper for years. They have the same friend group. They're in the same friend group. And she has shot him down left, right, and sideways and wants nothing to do with him. Or so she tells him, because she really is attracted to him as well. But then you got to bring in that Omega, and things just kind of go from there. So I listened to this one camping. It was back in October, and I still think about it. So I did really like it. Okay. All right. I think I've got two more. What number are we on? Yeah, I got two more.
4.
Okay. So the next one is also another LV Lane. This one is How to Keep a Fae. This is one of her more recent releases. This one is a little more angsty, but this is about Adeline, and then August and Jaga, I think is how you say his name. I cannot tell you how he says his name, but she's an Omega. And this war is still happening in this world. And you've read LD Lane. You know that fluids replenish the men in this world. And that is what our Omegas are used for in this thing. They're not allowed, like, you have to be a certain level. There's different levels of Omega. And so if you're a certain level, you get to be a breeder, or you get to be like this concubine type situation. And that is where she comes into play. The warriors come back from war, and they're all hurt and damaged, and they get to go and bang it out, and they're miraculously healed because apparently it's medicine. And so that is where she meets both of these guys on different occasions. They know from the minute they get going that this person is different, and she can sense it as well. She longs to have a family of her own, but she is not allowed to have a family. She is not allowed to have a relationship. This is what she's basically a prostitute that's not allowed to get what she wants. And that is where she's at. So this one definitely is a lot angstier, but is really good. And the last one, which I loved this one so much. And this is Ruffled Feathers by Grace McGinty. This one as well is So much fun. So this is a Omegaverse rom-com. And this is about Otillie James. And Tilly was raised in Alaska by her dad. Her mom had died and they were raised in the wilds of Alaska. She was raised in the wilds of Alaska until she is in her later teens. And her dad meets a woman who lives in South Carolina and they get married. And then they move to South Carolina. And that is where she meets Sonny, who is her stepbrother, and his best friend, which is Truett, I believe is what his name was. I've got all 4 names written down here, and I can't remember who's who now. But Truett, I think, is the best friend. And they've always looked out for her. Nobody's allowed to touch her because she's a girl, and she's an Omega, and she's younger. And it's also Sonny's sister. And so they're not allowed to touch her. But there's always been an attraction between Sonny and his sister, his stepsister. And, you know, you bring in Truett, and there's, the thing is that she gets to a point where her dad's out of town. Her mom and dad are out of town. She's in her 20s. She starts rescuing animals. She has a farm. This is where she has the parrot that is waiting to be rehoused. He was rescued, but he was living in a crack house. So his favorite word to say starts with a C and ends with a K. And you can't yell it in front of toddlers. So he just can't be rehoused anywhere because he says really horrible things. There's animals everywhere. It's like a petting zoo that she has in her parents' house. And her brother comes home one day and is like, what the heck are you doing? And so then she's met another alpha who is very damaged, and he's been hurt, and he has some PTSD and some situations, and he's like, hey, I got a place. We'll take him off there. But so good. She's one of those people that just loves farm animals, and the animals made it for me. But it was funny. I actually laughed out loud in this one. So it is funny, and I'm probably doing a very crappy job of explaining it, but it's so good. So good. So, okay, there's your 6 Omegaverse. I know that you have so many good ones, you don't even know what to choose from. I tried not to do all of them as like these crazy white shoes because I know that's hard on you, but typically in an Omegaverse, they like to be in a pack, so it's really hard.
Okay.
Well,
you gave me a lot of interesting ones to choose from.
That's one way to put it.
Long pondering. I'm going to pick Ruffled Feathers for the farm animals.
I think you'd enjoy that one only because you love your farm animals. And I think you'll get it. So, and your animals in general. So I do think you'll like that one. Plus it's Grace. It's easy. Grace is easy. So, all right. Well,
I'm circling it on my notes.
Okay. We'll be back and we'll see if Mandy still loves me at the end of this. I'm scared. Okay. You finished Ruffled Feathers by Grace McGinty. Remember, she doesn't typically read Omegaverse. And? Oh, God.
Okay. First of all, there's a goat situation, and the goat is eating azaleas. Azaleas are highly poisonous and will kill a goat. One bite can kill a goat. Highly poisonous. Rhododendrons and azaleas. Then there's actually mention of the fact that they need to Google to see if they're poisonous or not. But I just don't understand.
She wasn't a goat farmer. She was a rescue.
I know, but the goats are going to die because they're eating the azaleas multiple times.
It's fiction. It's okay. You tell me to calm down all the time when things like that bug me. So I'm just going to give you a hug.
My eyes don't look like they're even open.
They're open, and we're just too far away on a blind. I'm going to give you a hug so you can deal with that. Okay, other than that, let's talk.
Okay. It's funny. I mean, Grace always writes really funny. I just don't get the Omega and the Beta and the Alphas and like everybody's doing each other and then we're nesting in a bed and we're all doing it again. And
I think the comment you made yesterday was they're all grabbing each other's wieners.
I've never said the word wiener before. Unless I'm referring to Mr. Goose and calling him a wiener dog.
It was something like that though. But
anyway.
Okay, but it was still fun. It was funny. If you like Omegaverse, I think you'll love it. You just don't.
Yeah, Grace is definitely funny.
Grace is a great author. She really is. So, okay, so what are you rating it?
I'd probably rate it a 4.
Which is, I think that's fair. That's good. It's not your cup of tea. You stepped out And now I'm scared for my next convincing.
You should be.
Yeah, I know.
Everyone commented last time about how nice I was to you.
And I've been nice to you the last few.
Mm-hmm.
It's just this one. Sorry. We had to do it at some point.
All right.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to wrap this up because we have a side to get to.
Yes.
All right. Wrap her up.
Thanks for watching.
Nope, that is not what you say. Tired too.
I was going to say thanks for watching. Make sure you check back.
The thanks for watching is what I say. Oh, fine.
Make sure you check back on Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays for new videos from us. And sometimes Wednesdays, but maybe not for a few Wednesdays because we have stuff going on.
A lot of stuff going on.
See you next time. That was still at an end.